You could forget what you ate 3 days ago. You could forget an entire conversation from last month. But suddenly, at 2 a.m., your brain remembers that message you sent years ago, the one you immediately wished you could take back. You remember exactly what you wrote, exactly when you sent it. And somehow, your brain decides, let's think about that again. Why? Because your brain doesn't store every moment of your life equally. Some experiences get marked as more important than others, and embarrassment is one of them. Think about it. You're studying, walking somewhere, taking a shower, doing absolutely nothing, and suddenly, there it is. That awkward thing you said, that weird message, that moment where you realized, oh no, everyone heard that. You didn't choose to remember it. Your brain just brought it back. And there's actually a reason. Your brain is constantly trying to predict what might happen next. So when something goes socially wrong, it can become information worth remembering. Embarrassment isn't just about feeling uncomfortable. It's connected to something humans care deeply about: social acceptance. For most of human history, being rejected by your group could have serious consequences. So our brains became extremely sensitive to social mistakes. That's why an ordinary moment can disappear from memory, while one awkward 5-second moment can stay with you for years. But here's where it gets interesting. Your brain isn't necessarily replaying the memory because it wants to torture you. It may be trying to learn from it. When you remember an embarrassing situation, your brain can mentally reconstruct what happened. What did I do? What did they think? What should I have said? What should I do differently next time? In a strange way, your brain is running a simulation. It's trying to prevent you from making the same mistake again. But there's a problem. Sometimes, there is no lesson left to learn. The situation is over. The people involved have moved on. You already know what you would do differently, but your brain doesn't always know when to stop reopening the file. And there's another reason these memories can feel so painful. You're judging your past self with information you have now. You know what happened next. You know how awkward the situation became. You know what you wish you'd said. So looking back, the perfect response seems obvious, but it wasn't obvious in that moment. You were dealing with the situation using the information, emotions, and social pressure you had at the time. That's why hindsight can make an old mistake feel much worse than it actually was. And here's something even more interesting. You probably remember the moment more than everyone else does, because you experienced it from the inside. You felt your own embarrassment. You heard your own words. You noticed every little detail. But everyone else was experiencing the moment from their own perspective. They had their own thoughts, their own problems, their own embarrassing moments to think about. To you, it might have felt like the entire room was focused on you. To everyone else, it may have been a moment they barely noticed. So the next time your brain suddenly brings back an embarrassing memory, don't immediately assume something is wrong with you. Your brain is doing something incredibly human. It's trying to learn from the past. But you don't have to keep reliving a lesson you've already learned. Because sometimes, the reason you can't forget the moment isn't because it was that important. It's because your brain thought it was. And those are two very different things.